Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Precious Amori and kind of look like we're getting too serious. It's actually conversation with Precious, and today I'm having a conversation with Hadassah Ajayi. We're celebrating International Women's Day and we want to use this medium and opportunity to say Happy International Women's Day to all the beautiful women out there, to my mom, to my auntie, to my friends who are all females. Happy International Women's Day. And we also celebrated Gary. Before we forget, we drank Gary and coconut, so we had to give a shout out to Gary, to all the families, all the mothers who have used Gary to save their children over the years. I think Gary should be given a day of celebration.
International Day of Gary.
Yes, International Day of Gary. Because Gary has actually helped our lives. Let's stop forming. Hey, all of you that are looking at me. Let's stop forming. Like, there was a point in our lives where there was no food and the only way out was G4, Gary, like run on streets. But that's not what we're talking about. We're actually talking about breaking the bias. That's how.
Yes, stop.
How do women break bias? Well, let's start with what is breaking the bias.
First off, we need to begin with what is bias. Now, according to Oxford Dictionary, bias is an inclination or prejudice for or against prejudice. Anyways, guys, moving on. Against one person or a group of people, especially in a way considered to be unfair. So, when you're speaking of biases against women, basically these are things that because you're a woman, they use it against you. And they're like, oh, because you're a woman, you can't hold a political office. Because you're a woman, you can't become the MD. Because you're a woman, you can't become the director. Because you're a woman, you can't think for yourself. And so you should have no right to your reproductive organs. Because you're a woman, just so many things. Because you're a woman, you're not allowed to own land. Because you're a woman, you're not allowed to
rent an apartment. Especially in Lagos, you have to go
as a single woman. Because you're a woman, you're not allowed to bail out somebody in the police station. That's the thing that happens here in Nigeria, by the way. Because you're a woman, you can't travel out of the country with your child. In this country, you can't travel out of the country with your child without the father signing. And then there's a document saying that, and usually they don't ask the men for that.
Then there's another one. If as a woman, you can't, I've seen, let me go deviate a little bit into family where you lost maybe a parent, maybe a man or the father or your mother, and you're told not to stand up or speak during family meetings because you're a woman. And the man has to speak. Like when my mom lost her dad, that was when I found out. Like they were like, Waniko in the river, like you guys should leave. It has to be the son.
Yeah.
It has to be the man that has to speak on behalf of everybody. And my mom is even older than the person that we're talking about. I didn't understand the whole rationale behind that. Yeah.
So basically, they think that because you're women, you're sense. You not get sense. You're not too smart like that. You're not, just because you're a woman. And these are the biases, and all of these things contribute to one of the reasons why women are not progressing and doing so well in so many fields, so many aspects, and all of that. I have a couple of numbers here, but we won't get into it because you just wanted me to talk about what biases are. So maybe later we'll get into that.
That's Usarime. Whatever you hear, she has refused to say court, but she's using her video to say court, but it's okay. So, you just made mention of a whole lot of stuff from women, people not feeling like we have the right to our body. Is it wrong for a woman to be opinionated?
Actually, as a woman, I think you should be opinionated. Okay. Speak your mind without fear.
Have you ever been in that place? Because I have been in that place where I was in a relationship with somebody and I'm like, because the person already knows that this girl knows, when somebody does something, she knows this thing. And I'm not trying to tell you this thing you're doing is wrong, it's bad. The person is like, you're too opinionated. Must you have an opinion in everything? And at some point, to avoid stories that when the person says anything, I'll just look at the person like, okay, you do all the talking. And I'm shaking my head. So do you think it's wrong for women to be opinionated?
I'm about to be opinionated now, but I don't think you should be with somebody who is shutting you up. So don't demand. But anyways, I don't think that you should have an opinion about everything, because it makes sense really. Like, you don't have to say something about everything, but opinionated in the sense that you know what you want, you know who you are, you're smart, and you're able to express that. Then of course, sure, like, don't be afraid to express yourself, don't be afraid to speak your mind, and don't let the world shut you down, because trust me, as a woman, they'll try. Okay, woman, you talk too much. Those kind of things.
Blood of God. So there's something I actually wrote down. I said, what does breaking the bias mean in the entertainment industry? Because that's where we are.
That's a good question. Breaking the bias in the entertainment industry. So this is the thing, yeah. If we're looking at it, I don't have the proper stats, so I can't really say precisely. But the thing is, how many women producers do we have? How many women directors do we have?
Yeah.
And even as actresses like, most of the time you go through so much just to get these jobs in ways that men will not. And even when they are casting you, you're being objectified. You know, they're like, oh, like, usually when I have friends who, you know, are actresses, and usually these producers will want to sleep with you, you know, want something from you in return for them to be able to cast you and all of that. So yeah, this you know, I feel like, which is why I'm grateful for this woman. What's her name?
Moabudu.
Yes, you know, and all these people who actually have women who have come out to create platforms and opportunities for other people, especially women, to be able to
speak out,
yes, and express themselves and grow and become like something in the industry and all of that. So yeah. What else? I think that's it.
So how can one, as a woman I am now, how can I break bias? Is it by doing what men are doing, or doing more than they are doing? Like, I don't feel it's a competition though, yeah, but how can we break the bias?
So this is the thing. I was reading something this morning from somebody, and she was talking about how as a woman, you should actually, there are bills that are being put in place that would encourage women, or that would allow more women to actually take more positions of power in politics and all of that. So she was talking about the only thing I would plead with you is that when you see laws or guidelines that want to introduce quotas for women in leadership, vote for them, as that's one of the fastest way to get women into leadership positions. The thing is, sometimes you have to fight, you have to break doors, like literally break doors, for you to be able to get into places. But there are times when there are several bills in the House of Rep that would allow more women in positions of power. A lot of times, most people don't even know that these bills are actually before the Senate, and the Senate will strike it out. A couple of days back, there was a protest in Abuja.
Yeah, there was a protest in Abuja.
Yes, where, you know, there were a couple of bills that had to do with women.
And they were all struck out.
Yes, they were all struck out. So these are some of the things that, you know, if you can actually speak about it, which I think you can, like, speak about it, have all of these bills, these guidelines, these laws, have them pushed, so that there is more room for more women to actually get into the space. You know, women can contest for governorship, for presidency, and all of that. So,
do you also think women, as talking about whether we're breaking bias or whatever, don't you think we are our own problem?
Okay, so this is the thing. I'm not going to deny the fact that sometimes women are part of the problem, and I think it's because as women, sometimes you have inbred bias. They call it, I'm trying to remember the word, on something, oh my god, I can't remember. But basically, it's your patriarchal. like most women, especially in Nigeria, actually patriarchal. Like you don't even know it, but you have like these patriarchal tendencies in you. Like you, for example, perfect. The conversation that's been happening on social media in the past couple of days about women and kids and babies and all of that. You would go to the house where you see like the most random women, like aunties, go to the house and see the husband changing the diapers and be like, why you be saying
now you didn't change the diaper when your wife.
Exactly. So like sometimes women don't even recognize that these things they already have it inside them.
Mm-hmm.
They already have it inside them, and then even you yourself, you are what you're fighting against.
I remember a wedding I went for. I don't know if I told you guys this before. Where I went for a wedding to MC a wedding, and I was the MC. A fellow woman stood up with the groom's auntie, stood up and said, "Why is the groom kneeling down to feed?" Was the guy kneeling down? He was sitting down on the girl's lap to feed her. The guy sat on his wife's lap, like the bride's wife, lap to feed her. And the auntie stood up in the reception and she just screamed out like, "What's going on here? What rubbish is that?" Everybody was shocked. So in my head, I'm like, this is the fellow woman who is actually trying to spoil another fellow woman's special day because of her religious belief or her traditional belief of Isha men don't do that. I was so embarrassed.
So speaking of women, this is something I have stats here.
Mm-hmm.
A new United Nations report has found that almost 90% of men and women hold some sort of bias against females.
Okay.
Like this is both gender holding biases against females. So globally, close to 50% of men said they had more rights to a job than women. Almost a third of respondents thought it was acceptable for men to actually eat their partners. Zimbabwe had the highest amount of bias, with only 0.27% of people reporting no gender bias at all. At the other end of the scale was Andorra, where 72% of people reported no bias. In Zimbabwe, 96% of people expressed a bias against women's physical integrity, a measure covering support for violence against women and opposition to reproductive rights. In the Philippines, 91% of people held views that were detrimental to women's physical integrity. Do you see that? Now, women in political roles, according to the report, about half of the world's men and women feel that men make better political leaders. In China, 55% of people even thought that men were better suited to be political leaders. And then around 39% of people in the US, which is said to yet to have a female president, thought men made better president. And then, however, in New Zealand, the country that currently has a female leader, New Zealand has a female leader, only 27% of people thought that.
And in Nigeria?
I don't have the stats for Nigeria, fan. I don't think we actually.
I'm not even sure we have any of those.
I don't think we conduct.
They don't strike us out.
Thing like that. I don't think so.
We should leave the space.
I don't think so. And honestly, this is part of what I'm talking about. Like 90% of people actually have biases. Not just women. Not just men. And women too. And it's crazy because women have actually proven to be amazing leaders. An example is in Rwanda.
No, let's use Nigeria as a case study.
My dear, I don't have the stats for you.
Okay, well, in Nigeria, Okonjo-Iweala.
Yes, she did amazing.
This woman, former NAFDAC, Dora Akuyi.
Yes.
Yeah, so we have like more Abudu herself too is doing well.
So Rwanda has the highest number of female political appointees and parliamentarians in Africa. It is also one of the best performing countries on nearly every single developmental metric in Africa. What does that tell you?
Women are doing well.
The fact
that they have women there
the fact is right here before you. You see it. So that's the thing. Women have proven to be amazing leaders. I wouldn't quite say better leaders, but they've proven to be amazing leaders. And the fact that there's just this bias in the minds of a lot of people.
We are Nigerians first. You want to be happy, just be happy. They brought lights. Oh my god, I'm sorry guys. Like I saw the when I turned, I saw the expression. She went to like, oh my god.
That was the alarm.
They brought lights.
That
We're
was the
Nigerians.
alarm.
We actually get happy when there is light.
Which is terrible, man.
So sorry, I have to